Hey guys, so just quickly came out to water the garden. We've got a bit of a, looks like it wants to rain, but it's not really raining, so I decided to just water the garden in any case. So opened everything up again. It almost looks like, I don't know, the rabbits or the meerkats or whatever has been eating it, has given it a little break. So it does look like some of the stuff is recovering a bit. And then I also came out and I managed to catch another porcupine. So let me just see if I can turn this. Okay, so I've managed to catch him before he got into any of my millies. So small win for the garden in terms of growing stuff, unfortunately for him. So it's quite a small one. I put pumpkin in the cage, which they quite enjoy. So that's what we've caught him with, because you basically, there's like a step there that you put the pumpkin on and a little bit behind it, and then there's a rod that holds this door up. As soon as they step on that plate, then the door drops, catching them inside. So he didn't get anything in the mealies. Still a lot of weeds that I need to get out, so you can see I've done this side. As I say, just looking this side, I don't see any more that's been eaten on the leaves, and some of my kale is actually recovering a bit. Not that you can see it amongst all the grass and weeds there, which I'll also still get to weeding, but yeah, so that's positive. So I'm just gonna get everything covered up again after watering, and yeah, another beautiful day in Africa. So today I'm going to be putting down my weed mat, the walkways. So I'm going to put one in there, and then I'm not going to do this one just yet until I've finished making this next bed, and then I'll put that one in. So I'm going to put this one in. So you can see I've already laid it out, and then I've got these pegs that I'll put along in different spots to stop it from moving, and then that'll hopefully keep the weeds down in the walkways. And then I'm going to finish weeding this piece here, and then I'm going to start on this piece here so that we can make some more beds. I had another 3 beds planned in this section here, so I want to get that section cleaned up and those beds laid out, because I've got quite a lot of seedlings that need to be planted out, like my tomatoes, etc. So let's get started. Okay, so I've got 2 pathways put in now. So potentially that's what the whole garden's going to look like. You're going to have a piece of bed, walkway, piece of bed, walkway. So you'll see we're busy weeding there. I've got someone to help me today, so it's going a bit faster. And then we'll hopefully we're busy chasing the weather. The weather's coming in there. So we'll see how far we get, because it's supposed to come in this afternoon in rain. But yeah, so I want to get at least another, I think there's another 3 beds that we're going to fit in this space, that I'll be able to plant my tomatoes and everything else that I need to plant for now. So we got caught out by the rain, but it at least held off for longer than we thought. So we've got most of this area weeded. We've just got a small patch here to do, and a little bit on the edge there. It's not totally clean. There are a couple of the smaller weeds, as you can see there, that are in between, but it's a lot better than it was. I mean, it was looking closer to that than what it is now. So next round we'll give it a better clean up, and then get the last of those little weeds out, and then we can start building the beds. So you'll see here I've already got the next one laid. I've got my line in, which is in line with that small piece. So that bed, we'll finish doing that bed, then I'll put in another walkway, and then I've got another 2 beds laid in there with walkway in between. So the soil here, this pile here, we'll probably use first. We'll see what we do with the millies or corn before using that, but that we will then put on those beds as compost, like we did with those first 2, just to give the soil a jump start before we start planting what needs to be planted. And then that first bed I still need to weed. There's still a lot of weeds in there. I just thought I'd get going with this because I can at least get the beds going and get planted, and then do that first bed when I've got a chance. So yeah, still lots of weed and grass that side, but as we get or need more space, we will clear as we need it. I might just get a mower or weed eater and just maybe cut it down. I actually found a rabbit hiding there when we were cleaning, and it rushed off, gave me a heart attack just about. But so could potentially be one of the things eating in my garden, so hopefully we give it a good scare and it won't come back. But yeah, everything's looking good. As I say, a little bit wet, but at least we don't have to manually water the garden, so that's great. So there's lots of figs on this tree. They're still very hard, so nowhere near ripe. So we'll have to see between the birds and I who gets to them first when they do eventually ripen up. But lots of figs, so that's awesome. So I've got the 3 beds laid out. So we've got one here, one there, and then we'll finish doing that one. And then I'll probably just put plastic down on that side anyway, just for the weeds, once we've actually got some of the soil moved. And then that end one we've actually managed to weed as well, so everything's looking pretty clean. Although this one, everything's starting to come up again, but we'll just keep on top of that so we don't sit to the same weed issue. So what we're going to do now is, they've got quite a bit of rain predicted for the next couple of days, so we're going to first finish this bed. So take the soil and we'll finish this bed, and then I've got some brinjals and tomatoes that are getting quite big that I want to transplant, because they're getting, tomatoes especially, almost too big to transplant. So with the cooler weather, wet weather, it'll potentially be a good time to transplant them for the shock that they're going to get. So that's pretty much what we're going to get onto now. And then for the next couple of days we potentially won't be getting a heck of a lot of work done because of the rain. I mean, as it is, the soil is quite wet, which is nice, but yeah, let's get on and get that done. So we finished building this one bed as I was having to get done, and then I've planted out my Roma tomatoes. So these first ones are Roma up until here, and then I have a couple of black crim. I've got one more at home in a pot that I'll put in here. Then I've got 6 brinjal plants, and then what's left of my spinach. So there's only a couple. I'm not sure if that's a spinach plant, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And then there's one there, so I'm going to get a little bit more spinach planted again so that I can fill that bed up from what was eaten. And then there's at least a good amount of kale left that it didn't get totally annihilated by what was eating it. So good amount of kale plants still there, and just need to get them going. Danish boiled cabbages, busy making heads, which is great. And then the popcorn millies, now that you can see them without all the weeds around. So small ones are the ones that were replanted because of the porcupine. So for those of you who didn't get that part. And then so red cabbage, normal cabbage, and Brussels sprouts here on the end. So I'm happy for what I got done today. It's looking awesome. So after quite a bit of rain, I've just planted out some more tomatoes. You'll see I've closed them up. So planted the brinjals here. Then I have the black crim tomatoes here. So if you're wondering why I've put the domes over, it's just for the first couple of days, just to try and help the plants get established after being transplanted. Especially some of them are a bit big, so just to try and help them a little bit there with the wind, and then obviously with it being a hot day. So I'll just leave the domes on for maybe, I don't even think a week, and then I'll take them off, and then they basically on their own. What I've also done is between 4 tomato plants I've put in a basil. So I've got basil plants that I've planted in here. So I've got the black creme, then I've got the Roma, which is a nice canning tomato. Then I've got two, I think they're there, is the green grape. So it's a little cherry tomato, green one. Over here I've got San Marzano, which is a good paste tomato. So they very fleshy, not too moist, so that they cook down nicely for paste. So San Marzanos, the two green grapes, that's all that came up. And then Brandywine Pink is the other ones I've got planted here. So they all go through to the end. I've got two that I'm not actually sure what they are. They kind of came up in the seed tray. So there's two tomatoes that I've put on the end that they'll be surprise tomatoes. And then, as I say, all the way along I've put in a basil plant, as basil is a companion for tomatoes. So that's what I've just got done now, and then I need to get working on these two last beds. The soil has been very wet, so it's quite heavy to move. So I was just giving it a chance today with the sun being out to dry out a bit, and then we can do these two beds, and then I'll put another walkway that side. The soil is in the way, so that's why I haven't done it yet. But just to help with the weeds there, I'll put in a walkway to stop the weeds from coming up again. Okay, so just some items that we have got that are potentially on the way for February and March. So for February I've got some garlic planned. I've already got pink Egyptian garlic that I've already ordered, that's on its way. And then there's a couple of other varieties that I want to get as soon as it's available. And then I've also ordered a couple of corms of saffron. South Africa is supposed to be very good climatic conditions for saffron. So I've just ordered 10 corms there to try it out, see what it does. Yeah, we're learning and everything. So I just got a few corms. They're supposed to, every year they'll divide up and create more. So let's start with 10 and we'll go from there. I don't have an issue with small beginnings, and as I say, I'm growing into a lot of things with this garden, so we'll start small and grow as we go. Thanks for joining us in this video. We're hoping now in the new year that we're going to get videos in more often as the garden grows. Please feel free to subscribe and like this video. We would appreciate the support, and we hope you have an awesome one, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.